Hey everybody, let me bring Apollo up for just a second while we're getting set up here. Hopefully you can see me well. I just changed my video settings here. It took me a second to get the feed going. So give me a quick note and let me know if you can see and hear me okay. Quick note from the moderators. It looks like you can see me. Thank you so much. Hopefully you can hear and see me, everybody. Thank you. I had to reset the connection here before I began, which is why I was a couple minutes late. All right. So welcome to the weekly collective reading. Today it's going to be really exciting because we got a couple of things going on. We have a full moon, of course. We just got through that full moon. We also have a really exciting topic that you voted on today, which is all about manifestation. And I think it's perfectly aligned with what's coming through for the full moon. So being able to visualize, also being able to believe, and then kind of setting into motion. Thanks, buddy. What's necessary for this manifestation to take place. So anyway, thank you so much. By the way, brand new setup today. In the future, I'll be able to kind of adjust it so you can see the cards and everything, but I spent about 5 hours trying to get this video working, and I think it finally does. So this new kind of setup was thanks to you. So for all of you that support me month to month, especially those of you that are members and Patreon supporters or anyone that's given a super sticker or super chat, I've been saving up. And I think this should be like 10 times clearer than what I was using before. So yeah, Apollo's getting ready. He's digging in. He's getting ready for today. Let me talk a little bit about the overall setup and how we're going to organize this today, and then we'll get started. So like I always like to do in the weekend collectives, we'll begin with channeled messages, which I have written down here on the table in front of me. They come from dreams, they come from meditations, and also through the research that I do as I get started here every morning. Then the next piece that we'll be taking a look at is the 7-day forecast, a little bit different from my normal monthly forecast. But on the weekends, we'll look from Sunday to Sunday. And then after that, we're going to take a look at blessings and blocks coming through. And also, we'll go into some elementals, some sign-specific information, looking at earth, air, water, fire, etc. And then usually one sort of user question that I'll throw out to all of you to vote on, like a live poll. And then we'll go into the special topic today, which again is about visualization and manifestation. And then today, of course, we're going to be doing a meditation on the full moon to work on release and really embracing new things. And I think that's going to help all of us. I've definitely felt the energy of this full moon. I'm sure many of you have had vivid dreams and really been connected to that energy. So hopefully this will help kind of reset and ease us into the energy now that the full moon has passed. And then at the very end, we always do a final card. And that final card will be a question that you ask me, and I will pull a card to kind of get the answer that you need. Okay? So let's go ahead now and get into the totems here. One quick thing, I have two moderators today. Always great to have Dakota on the weekends. So Dakota and Margarita will be here to help you out if you have any high-level questions. A couple of notes as we do get everything set up. If you'd like to show support, the way that you can do that is by clicking on this little button, which is by the emojis. And that gives you a chance to give super stickers, super chat. And again, I do put it right back into the channel, like you can see. You can also do it on replay using this thanks button, which is right by share. And if you'd like to become a member, we see a bunch of members already here. So I want to say thank you, but that's another way that you can give back on a consistent basis. You also get a chance to vote twice for anything that you see here on the weekend polls. If you want to join me on social media, these are the links to my social media platforms. I'm going to actually post one right now. I normally put that at the beginning, but like I said, I had to reboot my computer at the beginning here. So here's the link to my social platforms in case you want to kind of learn what's going on. And finally, and most importantly, show some love if you like this. Hit the like, hit the subscribe button, and share with others if you can, because that helps this channel continue to grow. Okay? So, awesome. I'm going to actually just pull a little monitor up so I can see what I'm putting up to this camera a little bit better. And thank you. Again, I'm getting everything set up today, so I appreciate it as you're patient here with me. All right, so let's talk about your totems. We have a couple of them today. We're going to be looking at both the bear and, of course, the full moon. And the bear is cool because I like the variety in this particular totem. So if we just take a look here, there's not just one type of bear. There's actually a lot. There are, let's see, black, brown, polar, panda, sloth, sun, and spectacled bears. So like I said, more than a few. Here's a picture like from the Wikipedia page where you can kind of see all the different types of bears. And clearly it's a very adaptable animal totem. Each climate, each sort of environment, the bear adapts and grows with it. We'll also be looking at in just a moment here the constellations Ursa Minor and Major, which actually are a little and big bear, basically. So there's a little astrological piece with that we want to look at as well. So, all right, let's talk bears. All right, so adaptability, like I said, is key. So let go of old masks. Let me see if I have this from last night. I was doing a quick impromptu while I was getting the setup here for this camera, and there was a really cool card, I think from the Ethereal Visions one, that came through, the Tower card. And yeah, here it is. What I like about the Tower card on this deck is you can see that person falling, and it looks like the mask is ready to also come off as well. So losing the mask and losing that facade is going to be really, really important in this period of time for all of us. A lot of times it's easy to just sort of think, I know this is safe. I know that I could keep doing this, but the encouragement right now is to be yourself. As I said earlier, adaptability is key. So you actually have more skill in adapting than you may give yourself credit for. So try not to get stuck in how much work it might take, how much pushback you might get, or everything that could possibly go wrong. Think instead, you know what? I'm ready to be myself. Taking this mask off, because this totem is also connected to the Hermit, it makes a lot of sense here because you're going to be asked to kind of step into the star moment, right? Because bears are sleepers and we're going into the sort of winter season here, some of you may have this desire to rest, procrastinate, or hibernate. And there may be a little bit of sort of like this feeling of, I'm just tired, right? And the full moon can sometimes exacerbate this feeling because it's just sort of like you want to put the blanket around you and think, I'll deal with this next week or next year since it's right around the corner. But I'm encouraging you, especially as we get into the week ahead, because the full moon was this morning. So each and every moment after this is going to get a little bit easier. You can have a little bit more of an opportunity to start to see things coming into fruition. So take a step, even if it's a small step. What we'll be doing today, and again, you picked the perfect topic, it all begins with visualization. So if you can visualize it, if you can see it, if you can feel it, then that's the first step in making something happen, okay? Rest is important. I think for many of you, it might be about regulating your sleep schedule. So look at your diet. What are you eating before bed? How are you kind of fitting in your social calendar and your work calendar? So for instance, I was meeting some friends last night, but just for kind of like a pre-holiday hello, but I was tired. Sometimes I get tired. Like by 10 o'clock, I thought I need to go to sleep because I have to get up early tomorrow. So I have a pretty regulated sleep schedule where I need to get to bed by like 10:30 or 11, and I had to get home in time. But I had to work on this a little bit too to get the setup. It was late last night where I was like, finally, I know how to work on this. But I can do that once in a while, long story short. But if I do that too often, then I can't kind of recuperate the energy. And then you're eventually going to have that catch-up day. Back in the time, like one of my many jobs was I used to be in like television production and video production. And sometimes they would ask you to work really, really long shifts. So you might do like a 15 or 18-hour day. And if you did a week of those, sometimes you would sleep for a whole day on the weekend, right? So your body needs to reset, I think many of you. So reset yourself and remember that you are not the Energizer Bunny. There is a finite amount of time and energy that you can work on something. So make sure that you honor that. Okay. Enough said. If motivation is lacking, that's actually something bigger. And it's asking you to kind of like rethink, why did I get started on this again? What's my overall purpose? Because I think sometimes we just, we get so caught up in the day-to-day. Sometimes weeks and years will pass by. This was actually a topic of conversation the other night. Whereas if you're in a really, really busy job, or for those of you that might be parents, newly married, or like creating something new in your life, a business or constructing a house, it's crazy how like 6, 8, 10 months can go, and then sometimes a few years can go by. So whether you're kind of like having a little bit of a lag of motivation or a lag in your energy, or you're waking up, this is a moment to sort of like reset and figure out, why am I here and what am I doing? Okay. What I always like to kind of think of is like what I really, really want, the biggest goal in my life, and how far would I go for that? And why am I not doing that for whatever's in front of me right now? Because I mean, the answer is pretty clear. There's probably something going on where I feel like some of you are like, it could be because other people in your life have expected, asked, or projected some sort of a path on you. It could be because, like an old sweater, it just gets kind of comfortable to be in something. But when you start to realize like there is something more, this is really what I want to do, what am I doing? I feel like that's going to help you get the momentum you need back. Sometimes we just lose the original goal or the original sort of motivation behind it. So like, let's say you're going to school, you're really stressed out, there's finals, maybe you still have a couple of years to go, whatever kind of track you're on. Remember what it is you're trying to do after school. This will help you, and I mean like after the graduation happens. This will help you push through some of these little tiny stagnations that you have to kind of go through to get there, because it's like, yeah, I don't love this, but I will love that. So kind of contextualizing the work, and then jumping past that sort of feeling of being lethargic, I think is going to be key. But this is where the visualization, which we're going to talk about later, is going to be so important. Talking more about the fierce bear totem that came through. I think that many of you are going to get a little bit stubborn right now. Being headstrong can actually be advantageous. This is especially true for those of you where people constantly seem to have an opinion. You should do this, or you can't do this, or I want it done this way. When you become king or queen of wands in the upright position, which is very, very confident, very capable of managing and seeing things and not being sort of easily bulldozed by others, then this is the bear in its best form. In fact, using your body language too, kind of looking at your posture, looking at eye contact, leaning in like I'm doing right now to really kind of show engagement. All of these things are going to help. So I want you to really focus on using all your communication skills to be strong and not so much stubborn, but like strong and willing to kind of stand up for whatever it is that you're creating. Or whatever it is you're advocating for, because if you really believe in it and you can kind of push that forward, that authenticity, other people are going to have a hard time saying no. A lot of times when you waver, sometimes like I had a boss once that would they may like what you were doing, but they would ask you if you agreed with it because they wanted to see if you believed in yourself. And if you didn't, then they would say, I guess you got some work to do. But a lot of times they would say, good, I believed it too, but I just wanted to hear you say it, because they didn't want to approve something that you wouldn't want for yourself or you wouldn't believe. So believe in it, put it out there. If it needs to be worked on, then at least you know that you've put your best foot forward, right? Okay. Try to avoid thinking too narrowly, and I forgot to put an extra O on this, too narrowly or being stubborn. So this is where it can get into trouble, where you can get into trouble. So sometimes it's easy to just sort of tune out, put those blinders on. This is where the queen or the king of wands is reversed. So when you put the blinders on and think this is the only way to do it, and I'm not going to listen to any feedback, and I'm perfect or whatever, then you might miss something. So I want you to believe in yourself. But if someone has a great piece of insight or a great sort of potential tweak for something, think about it, see how it works, play around with it a little bit, and you may be surprised what that brings you. Okay. I mentioned also, we were talking about body language, but the body overall, because again, bears are super strong, is coming through. So I want you to focus on strength in your body. For everyone, this is going to be different. So for some of you, you may be kind of like working out at the gym. Some of you may be doing like Pilates or just swimming or walking, but just getting the body in its best form and its strongest sort of capacity for you, which is going to be unique for each person. That's going to be important. Always work with a doctor before you make any major changes. But I will say metaphysically, the stronger you are, and the sounder you are in both your mind and your body, the more energy that can come through. So figure out what's strong for you, right? It's going to be different for everybody, but work on that strength, emotional strength, mental health and strength, and then physical well-being. It's more about like being healthy. It's not about looking a certain way or doing a certain thing. So do what you need to be your healthiest and your strongest. Choose your battles wisely. Nonverbal cues are going to be really important. We talked about this. I might use a deck today that I like because there's a really cool bear card in it, and there's a lot of animal totems. So I might use this for the 7-day forecast. But the Wildwood deck has the bear card on judgment, and it's sort of sitting there looking scary. But I think it's really protecting what it wants most. And again, sometimes people may send a mixed signal, or they may just be looking to see again how you're willing to meet them. So you don't have to, like with a bear, if they're coming towards you, sometimes the best thing I think is just to sort of like not get in their energy or in their space too much. So if somebody is putting on that kind of like grumpy, angry bear energy, then give them their space. Let them kind of come back down into a more central, a more sort of focused space before you kind of like, we talked about this in the impromptu reading the other night, before you kind of lower your frequency. So we want to stay in a higher frequency. And that just means that you're going to stay more optimistic. You're going to be more, less of like pointing your finger, more problem solving, less about like stating the problems, because the person probably already knows what's going on and they need an advocate, or they just need someone there to support them. Okay. I love bears, by the way, but I think that they're a very sort of complex totem. They're strong. They can be a little intimidating. They're very protective, mama bear kind of energy. And we're going to be talking about that here with Ursa Minor and Major. And so you're just going to have to kind of like navigate through that over the course of this week. We're almost at the end of the year. We just have, what is it? We're at the 19th. So we only have like, 15 days left or something. Not even that much, actually, 11 days left. So yeah, the month is nearly over. So some of us are just kind of feeling the energy of the holidays, the stress, meeting with people, not meeting with people, and trying to get everything wrapped up. So be kind to yourself over this period of time. Okay. Hermit energy is a big part of this. We talked about that earlier. They live in a cave and they hibernate in a cave, and they like to be alone sometimes. So for you, I think you're going to need that quiet. I put the me time here, the you time, to just sort of like be in your happy space, right? So definitely do what's necessary to feel supported, to feel happy, to feel that safety. Okay. However, because even I was kind of like forcing, like, yeah, I have a couple of engagements here with friends and with family over the next couple of weeks. Venture out of that shell occasionally. You never know where this is going to lead. You never know what kind of connections can come through that. So even if you just sit there and listen, that's like one of the most powerful gifts you can give to other people, is just to listen, right? I think that's going to be so important. So sometimes if you're tired, you can just be present and show some support for other people. And that's all they need, right? Let's talk a little bit about the Ursa Minor, Ursa Major. They depict a mother and child, Callisto and Arcus. And Callisto basically had a son with Zeus, and that was Arcus. Hera, the queen of the gods, of course, she was jealous, so she transformed Hera into a bear as a form of punishment. And interesting piece with this, though, I think she was also in the kind of order of Artemis, I believe, and I think Artemis is chaste, so that was another reason. So there were a couple of goddesses that had it out for this poor girl, and so they made her a bear, and she had a baby. And the baby, there's a couple of different myths. One of them was that to protect both her and her child, they were just put into the heavens. There was another one where Hera was kind of tricking the sun into trying to kill the bear. So anyway, ultimately they were protected and put into the heavens. Complicated family dynamics, right? There always is with a Greek myth or a Roman myth. So familial healing can be something that you might be focusing on. Parental, it's not just, it's mom and dad in this myth, right? For some of you, you might be stuck in the middle. You might be the kid, you might be one of the partners or whatever, but you want to elevate the dialogue by, again, not sort of like trying to get into an argumentative state, not trying to take sides, trying to let both people know that you love them. And if it's a bigger, more complicated family, letting all parties know that you're just really there for their collective happiness, right? So you don't have to necessarily take a side, especially if you are a child. That's not fair. And even if you are a parent, it's not sometimes about choosing this or that. You've got to do what's best for you and for hopefully everybody involved. But it's not always easy. There's a lot of times, a little bit of fallout with that. In yesterday's reading, we got the 10 of Swords a lot coming through. And I think for all of us, that's a reminder rather that it's almost impossible to make everybody happy. And I think that if you give yourself permission to sometimes just not sort of hit it out of the park, not be perfect, it's going to be a lot easier. And then if you also give other people permission to be human, it's going to be okay. We're not all perfect, right? We're works in progress. We have good days, we have bad days. It's the batting average, and it's what you do after the bad day that matters most. Looking a little bit at the full moon energy, and then we're going to get into the reading here. The full moon allows you to take an energetic sigh. And I think all of us could use that, especially after the past couple of years, right? So give yourself time to take a little bit of a breather. One thing that you can do as a full moon ritual is to create an Epsom salt bath, just sort of meditate, recharge your crystals, of course. There's a lot of different things that you can do just to be kind to yourself. Today, even we're still in that energy, and I would say even tonight, the fact that you chose envisioning things or the planning energy with the Two of Wands, that's a really good thing to do on a full moon. It's kind of like retrograde energy, figuring out who am I, what do I want, how did I get here, what's next, what gets me excited, what gets me passionate, and how might I accomplish it. So dreaming, not limiting those dreams until you have a chance to kind of put it into practice, and just opening up your heart, opening up your mind tonight. What would you like to leave behind in 2021, right? What are you ready to release? It's not just about leaving something behind. Some of you might be ready to birth or release something. So what is it you want to leave behind? What do you want to birth? Right now, it's the time to see the latter part through. And it's also time to just think, that was an old version of me. We are stepping into something brand new where we don't have to do that or be that anymore. Since we did get the tower coming through quite a bit, focusing on laying down that groundwork and that foundation is going to be really key. Energetically, everything else will fall into place once you're allowed to do that, okay? So funny, the other day I was listening to an old 80s band, which I recommend. I think they're Swedish, Roxette. And there is one of their top 10 songs that's Listen to Your Heart, and that's stuck in my head. But listen to your heart and listen to your dreams. Because those symbols that you get in those dreams and in those meditations, they're really, really powerful. It's a big part of how I'm able to identify a lot of the totems that come through for you. Or when I wake up, like this morning, I just saw the bear. I felt the energy of the bear. So sometimes we see it in our head, like in our imagination. Sometimes we dream it. Sometimes we can just sort of sense something. But that's all I could see this morning. I'm like, we're going to talk about the bear. and that was easy. Use some water right now to meditate. And this can be, like I said, the bath. If you happen to live near falls, like Niagara Falls, or like a river or a natural fall, then this is something that you can use as well, because you can start to see the movement happening. Even a stream. When I was a kid, I used to live by a stream. So I would just hang out there sometimes, and you could start to see how everything was, you could just see the energy of movement. It felt good. I didn't really understand why, but it's because you were right there with the water. I know it's getting colder. Even here in California, it's getting colder. So it's not as easy to kind of get out to the water. But even in the winter, it's beautiful to look at a lake or look at the ocean. We're not going to get in the ocean, but it's, it's kind of nice to see the movement and see how water can kind of break things down one little grain of sand at a time, right? So these are the beautiful messages that came through for you today. I hope you enjoyed that part of it. If you happen to miss anything, just follow me on social media. I'll put reminders there, and I usually put these cards up there as well. So thank you very much. And also, again, thanks to everybody for the continued support, not just those of you that have given back, and I see a bunch of you doing that today, but just kind of hanging out with me too, because what I'm trying to do here is help all of us be our best, do a little bit better, kind of live our best lives. But a special thanks to all the of you that have supported me. I was able, like I said, to upgrade my equipment today. I think it's nice. Isn't it nice to be able to see me? I hope it's coming through loud and clear. I feel like this is like 300 times better than the built-in webcam that I was using before. So yay for progress and change. I mentioned the Wildwood deck. So I think I'm going to use the Wildwood deck here today, just because it has some cool imagery in nature. One trade-off right now is I'm not going to pull the camera up and down just yet out of my current setup. So I'll just pull the cards up. It'd be nice. I think it's nicer to see me and to see the cards. So. All right, so here's what we're going to look at. We're going to look at 7 days from Sunday to Sunday. I'll pull each and every card up like I always do. I'm not going to pull the camera down for now, but you'll be able to see these cards better. And it's okay because we really don't need to have the constant adjustment between this and this. All right. All right, next 7 days for everybody. By the way, I didn't say this earlier, but when you're watching a weekend collective, everything is for everybody unless I say otherwise. The only time that it's sign specific is when we go into the elements. So if you're hearing this, you're getting the message that you need. We're all under the same energy. Thank you so much to everybody that is giving back. I've seen a couple of really generous contributions. Again, I put it right back into the channel. Thank you. Sunday to Sunday. I need my glasses on for this because the captions are a little smaller on these. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Okay, let's begin with the energy for today. We have the 5 of Arrows, 5 of Swords in reverse. I always love this card. Let's pull it in the upright position because we see this little goat that's kind of like happily and perfectly getting through all of the obstacles here. So you may find yourself in someone else's crossfire or crosshairs, and what you're going to try to do is to avoid the obvious sort of like outcome that they want you to get to. I would say you don't have to avoid conflict. I think it's really important for you to stand up or say what you need to say. But with the 5 of Swords, there's always that message that you can't win every battle. And a lot of times people are not ready or willing to listen to you at all. So if this is something where you think to yourself, I don't have to do that. I'm not going to waste my time and energy on that. So don't. Spend your time and energy focusing on something else. Take your own bow and arrow, figuratively speaking, and decide this is where I'm going to put my time and energy. I'm not going to trade barbs with you and worry about, what you think, what you're saying, etc. So yeah, this is about focusing on you, putting the energy into something that is controllable, and that's going to be key. All right. Next piece. And yeah, I liked what someone said there. It is about also going to the source. I mean, you're the source on some things, but if there is someone that's playing a gatekeeper or they're kind of getting in the middle, then I would say don't be afraid to move around that energy. They need some time. That can be the angry bear that we were seeing. All right, so today is just about spending a little bit of time focusing on what you can control, not arguing with people that just want to argue. That's going to be really, really important. Monday looks pretty good. We have a Lynx here, the Page of Pentacles. It's a very agile card. Also reversed. You have a lot of reversals this week, so I think a lot of you are just kind of easing into something new. I don't worry about that. This is a very positive card overall. When pentacles are reversed, this is usually about deciding, does this feel right to me? So Page of Pentacles reversed, something is incoming, and you are sorting it out and weighing it out and thinking, how do I feel about this? What I like about any sort of cat that we see, especially here with the Lynx, is they can land on their feet. Okay, so if you were thrown a curveball by the universe, you definitely have the ability to land on your feet. By the way, the deck that I'm using is Wildwood here. So what you want to focus on is not taking too much on, not taking anything personally. And if you've decided in this moment in time that you're ready to move things around a little bit, say like, I'm more inspired or I'm more focused on this, then by all means, honor what your heart is saying. Like I was talking about earlier, listen to your heart. So this is a day, Monday, for you to really invest in yourself, do something that you can actually make some progress on and see a tangible outcome attached to it, okay? Tuesday is great. This is my favorite day so far. We have an upright card. And again, I would say 75% of your cards are reversed, but that's okay because we have the full moon. It's kind of like a retrograde. But you make a lot of progress on Tuesday. We have the Eight of Pentacles here. Look at that cool little hand on the cave. And again, one of the nice things with the new camera is you can actually see the details. But here you see the hand back there. There's a helping hand ready to kind of give you some assistance. Are you ready to receive it? Is there a reason maybe that you've been holding back from stepping into that? This is also just a really good day for you to get into the weeds, get into the details. So for those of you that are knee deep in a project, a proposal, a thesis, doing some home improvements, working on your life in a sort of really meaningful way, you're going to make some progress on Tuesday. You might even kind of be able to see like the overall pattern here start to emerge. The other thing with this, it's really good for those of you that are writers or those of you that do anything that's sort of like, if you're an artist or you work with your hands in any way, you're going to be able to really kind of like make some progress in that area as well. Good day for learning. It could also be kind of figurative, like I've learned my lessons and I'm ready to move on. So Tuesday's your biggest day so far. Your most sensitive day that I see thus far is Wednesday. We have the Queen of Arrows in reverse, but we have, it's kind of interesting. Normally with the Queen of Swords, you would see it more in the air, but we have a swan. It's in obviously it's in the water. So I think what's going on here is your critical nature could be affecting your sort of like emotional state, because Queen of Swords reverse can be about thinking I'm not good enough, or this is really not working the way that I want. I wish it could have been better. So take that down a couple notches and just kind of like I mentioned, using water to meditate. So for many of you, I think it's going to be important for you to focus on taking it one step at a time and going with the flow. So, you know, see some questions about like the swords is actually attached to law. I saw a question about that. So Queen and King of Swords can be legal matters. It can be contractual matters. It can be writing and speaking, and it can be taking action. But the thing that's holding you back from doing all of those things, or that could impede with all of those things, is the emotional state, because this particular artist mixed water and air. So we have to kind of observe what's going on with this. In order to see action happen, you're going to have to empathize with the other person, sympathize, engage the other person somehow. And you're going to use your words to do that, using the highest possible words that you can, okay? Thursday looks pretty good here as well. I believe in this deck, it is the Strength card. They reversed them here. So we have the Woodward here, and it's unusual. This card's reversed, but we're going to just show it upright. So normally we would see a divine feminine figure, and we would see her holding open the mouth of usually a lion. But here we see, I think it's another lynx, because they named it the lynx on the other one. So he's wearing the sort of skin of the lynx, and he has a lynx by him. And so there's a couple of modern decks that I have, like the Light Seers, where we'll see the woman that like she's half lioness and she's half woman. This is the same sort of shape-shifting energy. It's like trust your inner instinct and your, in this case, your sort of like feline ability to bounce back, to sniff out danger, to sniff out opportunity. That's going to be really important. Don't allow someone else to dominate, boss, or push you around. Because when this card is reversed, it's often somebody coming in and trying to control. So you are going to embody the inner cat that we have here, but we're talking about like big cats, and to say, no, I'm going to be able to stand my own ground, right? So stand your own ground and try to avoid being bossy or pushy with other people too. It kind of cuts both ways. All right, so Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Yep, we're looking at Friday now. We have now the King of Vessels, King of Cups. This one's in the water as well. Again, you have to read the captions on these. You can't just look at the pictures. We have the eel on this card. What I like about this is really the encouragement to be flexible. Eels are really powerful. They have that sort of electrical current within them as well. And I think that for many of you, you might be surprised how your emotional state, your passion, it's kind of, it is electric, because that's what our our brain as a bunch of little electrical impulses. So, and that's why I believe one day when we really start to understand how psychic phenomenon works, we'll be able to see the energy field around us better. We'll be able to see how that sends out waves. But this card is basically saying you can either send out a little bit of a shock wave, or you can move through a situation. And I believe a lot of this has to do with how you feel. So the number one thing that I keep picking up on is emotional happiness, emotional state of being. This is going to be essential to your success this week. It feels like Wednesday and Friday, you're in that slightly more sensitive mode. So do what you need to do to really feel like you're taken care of, you are safe. And if there's some sort of an outlet that you need, singing, crying, dancing, art, talking to a friend or talking to a counselor, do it. There's a couple of points this week where it's going to be important. I mentioned the importance of you being able to listen to others. So I'm just going to take a drink here of water. The same comes through for you. They should be able to be there for you. But it might require you asking for what you need, because not everyone is equally as good of a listener. Let's move on to the weekend. So we have on Saturday, upcoming Saturday, we have the Hooded Man coming through. And so for many of you, this is the Hermit card here. This is your chance to sort of come out of your shell. And I was talking about the hermiting energy that's a part of the bear. So this is definitely a part of that. If we look really close, we see that little bird, little sparrow or finch or whatever it is sitting on the branch here. Kind of interesting, this deck also has a lovely wreath here. So as we're getting closer to the holidays, some of us are kind of deciding, are we ready to reveal ourselves? Are we ready to kind of step into that new version of ourselves? The Hermit always holds the star. And in my book, by the way, like when I see hooded figures, to me, it's about, I kind of used a couple. I had the Star Rigel. I had, I think even Death would wear it sometimes too. It's sometimes because we're not ready to see what's there. And it's not that there's something scary beneath. It's that we aren't ready to show ourselves or see the truth. So are you ready? That's the question that comes up when I'm looking at next Saturday. Are you ready for the next step? Are you ready to really step into your power, into your passion? I hope so, because this is your portal day, because the Hermit is the portal to the star, even if it skips a few of the numbers in the major arcana. All right. And then we also got the Tower, which I talked about earlier. I pulled it from a different deck. We have the Blasted Oak here on next Sunday. So some big changes are happening, but you have a whole week to decide what kind of energy you want to put into that tower, right? So I think it's going to be important for you to kind of figure out, and thank you, by the way, it's a Ren, I appreciate that. But for the Blasted Oak here, nature sometimes has a way of pruning. And when I'm looking at what's going on here, I think that's what's happening. I used to live, on the East Coast, and we had like a big yard before I was living in cities. And I remember that there was a tree right by us, and lightning struck it, but it didn't actually destroy the tree. It's just a few branches and some electrical equipment in our house. But sometimes I think the universe comes in and it's like, this branch isn't where it needs to be, so we're going to take it out, take it away. Sometimes even a forest fire that's natural, that's in a controlled space, it gives life to wildflowers. There's a lot of times seeds that require the heat of the fire to germinate, to actually kind of like break through the outer portion of it. So for you, long story short, if something falls away, then something better is coming in its place. You can step into the action or the energy of this Blasted Oak and decide, I want to change something. I'm going to get ahead of the tower. So just to kind of like summarize the week here, high points and challenges. Today, you're going to avoid unnecessary conversations. You don't have to win every argument. We've all had those arguments where it's just not worth it, and you walk away a day or two later and just think, I wasted time and energy. That happened to me and it's not worth it. There's better things to do. A lot of times both sides are the bear, right? And there's not necessarily a right or a wrong. There's just two very opinionated people, two different points of view. So it's not worth your energy. Looking at Monday, investing in yourself is going to be really important. Do something that you can see some sort of a progress in. You really start to see the bigger picture, the finer details come Tuesday. There might be a helping hand that comes out with respect to resources. What you want to avoid midweek is letting your emotions get in the way of actions. So that's the first of two emotional warnings, but your passion is really something that is engaging. So figure out how to use it to your benefit. Looking at the latter part of this week as we're going into Thursday, many of you may have a challenge of who's the stronger one, who can speak louder, who can kind of like posture more. And you're going to stand your ground. You're not going to necessarily fight. You're just going to be consistent, strong, and confident. And as we look at Friday, again, you just want to realize flexibility is key. Emotions, again, play a really important role, so don't let them get in the way. Preview to next weekend, we have both the energy of the Hermit and the Tower. So the changes that you're experiencing internally are going to lead to a really big shift. But this is something that looks like it's positive because all of the cards leading up to it are really good. Okay, so I like what we're seeing thus far for this upcoming week. Let's shift now and take a look at blessings and blocks, and then we'll go into the elements, and that'll be, like I said, the single piece that is sign specific. Blessings and blocks. Let's use a different deck for this one. All right, so I'm going to shift between a bunch of different ones today. So for blessings and blocks, I'm going to use Tarot of St. Croix, I think. All right, so one for blessings. Very interesting. We've got the Eight of Pentacles, one for blocks. All right, so for the blessings this week, we have a duplicate card. This is why I like to use different decks. So two very different illustrations of the Eight of Pentacles. This one is showing the need to be flexible. We see a beaver dam here, it looks like. And so you're building something that is going to hold up to the test of time. I've actually covered the beaver before as a totem, and some of these can last like up to 1,000 years, several hundred years for sure. So you're building something that matters. Put the time and energy into it like it's that. When we look at like the Colosseum or any of the Roman ruins that still exist right now, it's kind of amazing to look at how much time and energy they put into doing those temples and buildings. We have so much like prefab stuff, right, in today's kind of like architectural world. Not all, but a lot of it is. So let's not do the sort of like cookie cutter prefab things. Let's do something unique and strong and that's going to stand the test of time. Put your energy into something where that is what's going to happen, okay? Your potential block is exactly what I said in the channeled messages. Just don't be stubborn. We have the King of Wands, and I said King and Queen of Wands are great, but when he's reversed or when she's reversed, what happens is sometimes ego can get in the way, sometimes fear of moving forward can get in the way. Whatever's going on, you're not going to let that happen. You're going to be okay. You can stand your ground. That's the positive piece of that, but not to the point that you miss something in the periphery, that you don't listen to feedback, or that you bulldoze over someone. Likewise, if someone's doing that to you, you raise your hand and say, not today, okay? So those are pretty good blessings and blocks. Let's move on to the elements. I'm going to use Aphrodite for this portion. And then when we do the main one, I'll let you guys pick what I'm going to use. But let's use Aphrodite for this next piece. Okay, so this is the one area where I'm going to look at something specific to signs. So we'll be looking at fire, earth, air, and water. Let me pull the cards and then we'll talk about each. Okay. All are really good this week, actually. Okay, so we have, first up, we have the Six of Pentacles. This is going to be for fire. So if you are Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius, this message is for you. You have what you need, but you have to be willing to say no, and sometimes either delegate, reorganize, adjust the overall sort of like timing of things. Usually with the Six of Pentacles, you can still do the scope. You can still get done what you want to get done, but the timing isn't always there, or you may need more resources. You're probably also in a place where too many people could be coming to you for help. This card is also a reminder to you to manage better. So when it comes to money, your schedule, even the way that you're loving and giving to others, there is a point where enough is enough. So for all of my fire signs, again, Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius, the message for you is know when to say when and know when to hold your proper limits, okay? I like this card. It is also about finding balance in your life. So amazing. So that was fire. Let's move now to earth. So for earth, we have the Seven of Pentacles. Lots of pentacles, lots of earth energy coming in, actually, as I'm looking at all of the elements here. So this is for my fellow Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorns out there. And with this card, Sometimes when we've made a mistake in the past, sometimes when there's been a debt, when there's been some sort of an incident that popped up, and it's sort of like we hold a little bit of a soul scar. So if that happens, this is saying you've learned your lessons and you're going to be a-okay this time. Come out of your shell. Don't beat yourself up. Just make better decisions as you move forward. So again, for Earth, for Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn, you are on the rebound. This is definitely a card of rebounding. This is a card of healing. This is also a card of making sure that you don't overextend yourself. So just like this, we're going to be taking the lessons from the Six of Pentacles and say, no, I know exactly how far I can push it. I've made some mistakes before, but I'm not going to make it anymore. I'm stronger now. So that's what we see here for you. I do see growth and recovery, but the Seven of Pentacles carries with it a reminder to be patient. We don't see it so much in this particular illustration, but the traditional one would show usually a male figure, kind of like leaning on a shovel, looking at the growth in this sort of tree or bush and wondering why it's not growing faster. So for some of you, you could be comparing yourself to someone else. You could be looking at an artificial deadline or an artificial expectation that you've put into place. And this is basically saying, do you really need that? If you don't, like, if you're just willing to kind of be flexible with that and see where things are going, you're probably tracking in a much better place than you think you are. All right, so let's move on next to air. So we're going to look at Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. We have the Hermit card reversed. It's time for you to step into the star energy. So we can see her very clearly holding that. And because this is really clear, you can see the little firefly or moth that's right there. So when you're really ready to step out of your hermit shell and out of your sort of cave, then all of a sudden, you're going to start to see some really rapid movement in your life. And people are going to be knocking on your kind of like metaphorical door there. So if you're ready, people are ready for you. The main thing that I'm picking up on with this Hermit card, it could just simply be a confidence issue. Do I believe in myself? Am I ready for this? What's going on, etc. Okay. So the Hermit card is a self-discovery card. So someone's questioning, really, again, yeah, if you haven't learned what you need or if you don't believe in yourself just yet. But the Hermit's really, really strong. This is what gets overlooked sometimes. This is a good card. So for whoever wrote really, I would say, yeah, really. This tells me you have learned your lessons. You are ready. People are already starting to kind of like raise their hand and wonder, what's the holdup? So this is really encouraging you to step into your power. That's my brief and concise message for all of the air, for Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. This is your time to step up and to step out. Let's do it. And when we look at the main part of this reading, hopefully you get the insight that you need for that. Okay. Next, we're going to look at water. So water, of course, is Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. We have the Three of Pentacles. This is one of the best cards so far. Recognition, completion. This is a card that we'll often see with higher education, with publication, with someone really finally seeing what you have to offer. And you're the queen bee. I love the way that this is illustrated. You've got a lot of people around you. This is also an encouragement to delegate and to hire help or to lean on others, because the queen bee doesn't have to do it herself. She's set up this hierarchy. So it's a little bit of Hierophant with this, or Chariot, as well as the Three of Pentacles. So you're going to be asked to step into your power. Okay. I feel really good about that. So let's look at really quick these four, and then we're going to get into the next portion. So for fire, balance, saying no, knowing when to do something, when to not do something, and also not overextending yourself. A very similar message that came through for Earth as well. But this is fire, Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. Earth, recovery, patience, and understanding your limits. It's an elevated and sort of kind of like higher version of what we just talked about. You're doing better, but you have to trust that. Again, for air, coming out of your shell, trusting that you've actually done the work necessary. There might be a little bit of shyness or discomfort in putting yourself out there in the spotlight, but you're ready for it and other people are ready for it as well. You just have to kind of have that push. And then finally, looking at water, recognition, graduation, completion, really good stuff actually across the board. Okay. Great. All right. So we're going to do one quick user sort of like feedback poll here, and then we're going to get into the main part of the reading. So I'm going to just grab my keyboard real quick, and you'll have a chance here to vote on a couple of topics. So as I'm looking at all of this for the week ahead, here's what's coming through for me as a couple of things to think about. So for viewer's choice, my sort of questions here are looking at all of these lesson cards, the 8 of Pentacles and the 7 of Pentacles. I'm going to actually just ask, what's the lesson? What's the lesson at hand? The sooner you know the lesson, the sooner you can graduate onto something else. Coming out of your shell, because we got that for the air sign. So coming out of your shell. And then let's see, one last option here. I think also just being flexible. Well, actually, let's focus on emotions. Managing / understanding emotions. Okay, so you have a chance to vote on this right now. I'm going to pull one card as a wild card while you're doing that. I'm going to stick with the Afro Goddess deck while we're doing this. So you'll have a couple of moments to vote, and then we'll get into the main portion of the reading. Okay, so have we missed anything, universe? What else needs to come through right now? Patience. So we have the Hanged Man card coming through here. Power and patience are kind of packed together in this Hanged Man. So for many of you, what I would say with this is the wait is almost over, but don't force something to happen before it's meant to happen. Because everything has a proper time and a proper sort of way to factor out. And if you kind of rush through something before you've learned the lesson or before you have completed what you're supposed to complete, you'll have to go back and retrack. So take your time. If I were just to sum it up, take your time, be patient. You're getting there, but imagine that everything is going to be seen by the people you care about the most, and you want to just make sure that you're going forward with your best foot forward. All right, what's the lesson at hand? Great question. I'm glad you guys voted on that. So let's take a look at what the lesson at hand is. I'm drinking water from the bottle. I'm just drinking some fancy fizzy water, people. It's just Perrier. I didn't have a chance to get a glass. It was here handy. That's all it is. I'll grab a glass here before I get the next section ready. Okay, so the lesson at hand is about control and authority. So we have the Emperor card here coming through, reversed, of course. So I think one of the things that I would say is that it's going to be really important for you to understand that it's your turn to be in the leader position, to take accountability. If there's someone in your life that's constantly sort of coming through and trying to make you change who you are or change to their mold, you don't have to do that. You're your own person. You're strong. So really discovering that, I've said this before, but it bears repetition here, you are already complete. You are who you're seeking. You are what you need to be. Don't try to find that completion in someone else, and don't give away your power to someone else. Easier said than done. We're all working on that on a day-to-day basis, but that's why we're tuning in, and that's why sometimes I'll just kind of lay it out there. So be stronger than you think you are. Lean into that energy, and good things are coming through, okay? You don't need someone else's permission. You don't need their even their recognition, even though it's nice. You can do this with or without that support, okay? And one thing that I like, by the way, is he's holding the 2 of Wands crystal, which we're talking about, okay? So he's learned the importance, a nice segue into what we'll be looking at in just a moment. He's learned the importance of manifestation and visualization. So stick by what you're trying to manifest. All right, so I'm gonna stack up the cards here, and we're gonna take a look at, I'm gonna give you some cards to vote on. I think I'll put this one into rotation, probably. We'll do the Wildwood. I'll also put the Afro Goddess one into rotation for consideration. I know that all of you love the lights here, so we'll put that one here for consideration. And then I have to make a choice, and it's always hard for the last one. But I was going to do this one last week, and I think I forgot. So the other one that I'll put out here is the True Heart Intuitive. So let me put the poll up, and I'll get a glass so I can put my water in a glass so it's not distracting, and then we can get started. Okay. So you guys get a chance to vote because it's fun, and why not? You have to look at the cards, so I let you kind of choose on those. So viewers choice, and we're going to get a chance to look at which deck. Okay, so we have a lot of them that we saw today, but we're going to look at the Wildwood one. We will look at Afro Goddess, Light Seers, and True Heart Intuitive. So there you go. You'll have a chance to vote in this moment in time. I'll pull a couple cards up from each. I think you all know what this one looks like. That's what I've been using. Really beautiful imagery. So this is option number 1. It's Wildwood. It's basically, instead of people, there's a lot of animals in this one. So this is cool. You know, I love Afro Goddess. Every card is like a beautiful painting, and you really see them with this new camera. I love that you can actually see the cards for once. I feel like we were looking through like a lens with Vaseline with my old camcorder. All right, and then we have Light Seers here, in case you don't know what it looks like. And then the True Heart Intuitive right here, which has some really cool images, and it's a little bit of deviation from Rider-Waite-Smith, but there you go. Take a vote. I'm going to put this into a glass so it's less distracting, and then we'll get into the next piece. Welcome to everybody. If you just joined, a reminder that this can be used for everyone. Collectives are just like the title sounds. It's a collective reading for all parties. We're all under the same energy every month. So this is basically our chance to work together and see what everyone's going through at the same time. Okay, so it looks like Wildwood's winning. So let's go ahead and stop this poll and take a look at this. Yes, it was really close today. Really close, razor thin. True Heart almost won. We'll see. Maybe at the end I can include this again. This is I do love True Heart Intuitive. It's an amazing one. But Wildwood felt right today anyway, so I think you guys made a fantastic decision with the Wildwood. Okay, so at this point, let me just kind of lay out the cards. Normally I'd pull the camera down, but I'm just going to leave it up until I can adjust my settings. So let me give this a good shuffle, lay out all of the cards, and then I'll show you what's going on. This is for the special topic today, which is to visualize and manifest, kind of like that cool card that we were looking at with the Emperor, where it's all about kind of understanding what's next. 2 of Wands, basically, energy. Okay, so let's see how you can get ready, even before New Year's steps in, how to get into that energy of New Year's. How's everybody doing today, by the way? Hope that you're doing great. Those of you that are traveling, you're safe and you're enjoying yourselves. This portion of the reading, by the way, can be considered evergreen because whenever you're going through a moment where you need to manifest, you could always look back at this. So I would say that if and when you need this, you could consider this an evergreen portion. Okay, we had one that popped out, so I'm going to do 2 for love. Or 2 for wealth, rather. Yeah, she got a couple of bonus cards for all of these, so give me a second. Okay. So let me pull each card up and I'll show you what's going on for this month. We have Lord Ganesha in your catalyst position. The card says joy. And I think the most important thing for many of you is to give yourself that permission to be happy. Oftentimes we put ourselves in sort of like the back burner. And it's sort of like everyone else matters first. But this is reminding you that you deserve to be happy. In fact, that's one of the sort of like messages you'll often see on a Christmas card, right? Joy. But are you truly kind of embodying that feeling of joy? And understanding that just because it is the holidays, it doesn't mean that this has to be what you're feeling now. This is more of like a year-long thing, making room for joy and happiness in your life. I've talked about the sort of danger that we see with all of the Hallmark movies and the television movies out there where holiday season equals finding a partner, finding love, whatever. Actually, if you look at Love Actually, that one maybe has more examples of how it can be a mess. People are falling in and out of love. And it may happen around the holidays, but it's not about that at the holidays. Your relationship is with yourself. The joy that you feel in your life needs to be derived from what's going on within, not necessarily with someone else. So you have what it takes to be happy in your life. You don't need the other person there to kind of fulfill yourself. Make room for joy, make room for fun. Do what you need to do to make sure that you are enjoying things, right? Someone asked what evergreen means. It's like a tree that doesn't lose its leaves. It's good anytime. So it's just a fancy word for, it's a timeless reading. So this part is timeless, okay? Okay, let's look at your center card here. We have the King of Swords. King of Swords is reverse, and beautiful sort of bird coming through on this one. So for many of you right now, the encouragement is to, I would say, like, go the distance. And also you might be inspired, challenged, or required to take your message and to basically spread that word further than you think it could go. You're going to have to kind of like go beyond the borders of your own sort of home, community, etc. So what you're saying, your voice is carrying, basically, when we look at this card. I want you to imagine everything that you say has that capacity to really go far. This is going to help you avoid any sort of missteps when it comes to people misunderstanding you, etc. The reversal of this one is saying, get to the point, be as honest as you need to be, and change things, edit things a bit. Speaking specifically about manifestation and Two of Wands, this would be about sharpening your pen or pencil, and basically deciding, this doesn't work, let's get real. So through the lens of the Two of Wands and envisioning and manifesting, get real, say what you need to say, and then move beyond that. That's King of Swords. King and Queen of Swords, two of my favorite cards because they have that capacity to go straight beyond the sort of like, kid gloves. You don't need that anymore. We have the Knight of Arrows on top of this. So you got a lot of swords coming through. So the Knight is showing that once you say what you need to say, once you put it out there, movement happens pretty quickly, surprisingly, actually. And you may find that it's beneficial to work in a partnership with other people. So we see a king and a knight. That to me would be someone that could be like an assistant, or could be someone that you are just kind of working with temporarily. In everyday life, this could just be a friend or family member helping you a little bit. So someone helping you execute your vision, and you just need to be as clear as possible. So in manifestation, getting to the point so that there's no uncertain pieces of this, and then allowing for that other person to carry through on that. So the clearer and cleaner this message is, the clearer and cleaner the delivery will be, right? It's kind of like an internet connection. If there's a higher bandwidth, things can get through easier. You need to have that sort of clarity and that openness as well. All right, looking at your deep past, we have the moon on the water. This is the full moon that's coming through. And I love that we see a bull here. So for some of you that have a Taurus moon, this could be a very deep and sort of like emotional period for you, because there's just a lot coming through. But for all of us, with the moon card and with that sort of bullish energy here, we should be bullish on the future, imagining something really, really good is happening, right? There's a reason that on Wall Street, they have that bull kind of like in the square. It's because it's moving forward with fervor, with sort of like passion and verve. And that's what you want to do. You want to be bullish. Use this sort of imagination, hope, and creativity to get to that bullish energy. There's a bull market and a bear market. The bear markets are like the hibernating and sort of backward going markets. And the bull ones are where it's kind of charging forward. So as advice for manifestation, super powerful here. It's time to charge forward. And if you do have a Taurus placement, I'll kind of break it down. It'll help you in different ways. For the moon, you may be trying to work through fears, doubts, and uncertainties. But the cool thing with the Taurus moon is when you've made up your mind, it kind of like you really feel it and you really do get that momentum. In your rising, I actually feel like this is it's it's a beneficial placement for you, because you're going to be able to be a really good boss, a really good leader, and people will want to follow you. Sometimes people want to get out of your way, but you have that sort of gravitas when you come into the room. And if it's in your sun, then I think you embody the best of what we're talking about. And you'll understand when it's important to be sort of the charging bull and when it's important to just kind of like be leading and be pushing things where they need to be. But the strength is so important. So if you have any Taurus placement in your charts, it's a very good sign. Again, for me, it's my moon and I'm happy to have it. But sometimes I can be stubborn with it too. So I have to be aware of that. I have a Virgo placement in my Venus, and that kind of helps. And of course, Libra in my sun and Capricorn ascendant. People ask all the time. That's the top 4. I'd have to look at my own chart to see the other ones, but those are the ones I look at the most when I'm looking at readings. So anyway, use the stubbornness, use that bullish nature of being strong, optimistic, and move things forward, okay? You can do it. You alone can do it when you believe that. Okay, that's so funny. Does that tie into my bear totem? It totally does, doesn't it? Because the bear is based on the fear, and the bull is coming through to say, don't be afraid, okay? So, and we didn't get the bear. There is a bear in this deck, and it's on judgment. We'll see if it comes through anywhere else, but the bull is saying be bullish, okay? All right, we have the Wheel of Fortune here, recent past. So many of you have created the necessary tapestry, organization, foundation that you need to set into motion something really exciting for the next year. The Wheel of Fortune isn't just a moment in time. It's a complete trajectory shift for you, right? And so at this moment, I think it's going to allow you to, if you continue to go with it, you can make more. Use your tools, use what really makes you passionate, and be surprised at, not really, but like be emboldened and positively sort of surprised at how well things will start to happen here. So you just have to kind of move with the flow of energy. The wheel doesn't want to go in reverse. It wants to go forward. So if you're fighting that current, why? Is it because of fear? Is it because of external expectations? There's something going on, and I think that's going to be important. All right. Hello, recognition. It came through again. The 3 of Pentacles, 3 of Stones here. I love how grounded and foundational this particular card is. We see her embodying the energy of the forest. She's literally a tree almost, right? So the firmer you can be in your purpose, the better. I'm looking at her totems here, and it looks like there's like a wild steed and maybe another bull or buffalo on either side. So that kind of figuring out, you can see there's one here. That looks like it's a wild steed. That looks like it's the bull that we saw in the, I've never looked at that before, but I'm noticing them right now because I just thought it was part of the tree, but there's actually stuff carved in, or the stone. She's also in that sort of archway. So this to me symbolizes New Year's for you, which is perfect. It's right on the horizon. And so as we step through that arch between past and future, we get to decide what we're trying to do, what we want. And you need to recognize first your own power, your own passion, your own purpose. Self-recognition is the most important thing here with manifestation so far. This is in your crowning position. This is where your head's at, right? So focus on believing and seeing it. Just as strong as the 2 of Wands is sort of like feeling really good about it. By the way, if we're looking at something that you want to release to the public, 3 of Pentacles, it would tell me that it's edited to perfection. You're really ready for it. 8 of Pentacles is revision. 3 of Pentacles is publication. Now, taking that sort of publishing vibe out and just saying like, can I talk about this? Can I do this? Can I have this conversation? Can I launch this? You want to feel the 3 of Pentacles, which is, I can't wait for someone else to hear, see, feel, or experience this. So get to that point. Sorry, my neighbor's dog. Get to that point so that you can really feel the excitement within. And if it doesn't exist, then just hold until the timing is right, okay? Even if other people are barking and saying, get it done, we need it now, just like that dog, you're gonna ignore it, right? All right, balance is super important for you as we look at what's coming through. This is Temperance in this particular deck. And so for many of you, it's figuring out where do I stand? And also trying not to get wrapped up in somebody else's drama too much. This kind of reminds me of the caduceus a little bit too. So for many of you, you might be looking at, or the symbol for doctors. So I'm looking a little bit at health balance. So if you've been putting that sort of that to the side burner, this is important for you right now to really take care of your physical well-being more than ever, actually, right? So I think that's super important. But ultimately, when I see temperance, it's taking the first step. It's being patient with yourself. Like when we had the Seven of Pentacles earlier, I said you're on the right track, but you have to be patient. And yes, the dog barking in the background is proof that this is live. We have to move with whatever's happening. Okay. Focusing on you, your soul, your core. You came through with great energy, actually. We have the Otter and the Page of Cups here. So Page of Cups in reverse is stating that there may be a lot going on. Almost invariably, all of your Cups cards were in the reverse state, but this Page of Cups still is really good. And with an Otter, let's not forget that they can be upside down and be fine, right? So if you can be playful like the Otter and kind of find your way of feeling like I can always land on the right foot, kind of like the cat. If you throw them, you wouldn't throw them, but if they kind of like fall out of a tree or something like that, they usually can flip around. On this, I'm getting that same sort of flipping energy with the Otter. If he's upside down, he's still okay. I believe sometimes they sit on their bellies and eat in the water anyway. So for you, it's kind of making peace with where you're at emotionally and trying not to put too much energy into how that feels, okay? And sure, I don't really think this is necessarily for the spine. I think this has to do with emotional flexibility. 10 of Pentacles or 10 of Wands would be a little bit more for that, but I think it's just being able to see things from another point of view. Okay. Looking at the environment, we have the 8 of Cups. Interesting that this one shows, let me see if I can get it to focus on the word. So it shows rebirth there. Usually for 8 of Cups, I would see it as second chances. I would see it as cycles, but sure, I can see rebirth being a part of this because you could decide to end a cycle to try something different and to say, I don't want this anymore. I want something different, or to go back and make something right. So that's all part of this. As we step into the new year, 8 of Pentacles is absolutely amazing for starting something and seeing it sort of like pick up. These two cards are very compatible. So the Wheel of Fortune and the 8 of Cups. This is a new cycle. This is sustainability within that cycle, right? I would rather have the 8 of Wands to the 8 of Cups, but I'll take the 8 of Cups because it's showing consistency. The only thing that's a little interesting about 8 of Cups is it's sporadic. So for those of you that are looking at manifesting something in business, what can you do to create more of a sense of immediacy, or what are you doing for consistency? Are you showing up at the same times? Do you have, like office hours, or like I do, certain days that you stream? People will start to show up when you create that consistency, right? So find some consistency, find some ways to reach out. I think that's going to be important. Okay, opportunities, hopes, fears, things that could possibly kind of like push you into a weird trajectory if you're not careful. We have the Archer here, and I love the sort of central focus on this card. This is the Chariot in this particular deck. So not just taking aim, but taking control, both. And knowing that once you've done that, you're okay. But going to our myth, by the way, of Ursa Major and Minor, make sure you have the right person in those crosshairs. So that could be the person to solve the problem, or be very careful about pointing fingers at someone. You have to get all the information. There's more than meets the eye, because we're going to couple this with my channeled message. And there was a warning there about the sun accidentally sort of misfiring at a family member. So just be careful here and it'll be okay. And guess what? We all have misfires. It'll be okay. Just move past that if that's the case. What's really good, though, with this, if we just move the myth piece out, taking control, taking ownership, pushing things in the right direction. That's what's at your kind of like disposal right now, is the ability to be in the lead. The Emperor, like we saw earlier, what's the lesson? You're the boss. You have the power. This is a sort of lesser power card, but it's still a power card nonetheless. Okay. And finally, choosing happiness is the most important thing here. And it kind of goes back to the first message. So we have the Three of the Three of Swords in reverse here. The caption on this one's really interesting. It says jealousy at the bottom. So there could be someone in your path, in your life. It could be you that's challenged right now, where you're looking at someone else or they're looking at you. And instead of inspiration, there's this feeling of, why not me? Why am I not where you are? And this is also about maybe looking at even just someone that you love, and if you could find a way to be inspired rather than jealous, or like vice versa, if they're going through that same issue, helping them sort of see how it's not about them, I think that's going to be important. But if we put these two together, it's a clearer message. Time to be happy. Both cards are reversed. So for some of you, you're not kind of like as satisfied or as satiated as you'd like to be. And this is about choosing happiness. This is unhappiness. This is choosing happiness, right? It's the opposite of that. Instead of jealousy, you're feeling a sense of inspiration. Instead of unhappiness, you're choosing to do things that are going to bring you happiness. Focusing on heart health. Heart is not just sort of like an organ, or a muscle in the body. It's also, how we feel about ourselves, how we treat ourselves. So really nurture and be kind and use love with a capital L for yourself and for others. Okay. Let's go ahead now and expand the forecast. We're going to look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. Starting first with your health card. We're getting a lot of common messages here. Love and accept yourself. And it says, thanks, angels, for lovingly guiding me towards self-acceptance. I feel like I just said that. So that's exactly what's coming through to be healthy. And without that health, it's going to be very difficult to manifest during this last couple weeks of the month here. So love yourself, love what you're doing, make time for joy and love. Choose love over hate. Choose the path of just sort of like, and oftentimes least resistance is to be happy, is to love yourself. And that's what we're getting with this particular card. Okay. Definitely though, like I said, the heart can be, if we hold a lot of pain or a lot of stress, it can start to kind of like acquire that. So high blood pressure, cholesterol, things from like just a lot of blood pressure, all of that, it can kind of aggregate. So if you're feeling any of that, obviously go to the doctor. Standard disclaimers apply when I look at health. I'm looking at energy. I'm looking at places of vulnerability. So a place of vulnerability is your heart. It could be your emotional state. It could be something physical. So take care of your heart. Looking just broadly speaking at health and what's healthy for you. The most important thing for you is to have that sense of balance and control in your life. So we have Temperance and we have the Chariot, two very different cards named differently in this deck, but finding the balance, not getting yourself entwined in someone else's energy, making sure that you are focusing on what matters. And that's going to be super essential. And then grounding overall is so key. The main totem today had that, the bear, and so does this Three of Pentacles. So ground yourself, find the balance, and really focus on the right person at the right time. And then being positive or bullish on the future. Let's move on to wealth. We have two cards that came through. I mentioned that there could be like parental energy that's coming through for healing. Let's get this in focus here. So we have Mother Mary, love and peace. And it says, let go of the need to be right, choose peace. Mother, healing is possible right now. So for many of you, there could just be someone who is relentless, and you're going to not try to win an argument. The Five of Swords that we saw earlier definitely is connected to this, and it's not worth it. There's better times and better uses for your energy. So this could be a family member, it could be a coworker, but it's something that you care about and it's something that you're trying to push forward. So this is like Empress energy. So you're not going to try to get in the way of the Empress. Choose peace. Mother Mary is peaceful anyway, so that's part of it. Mercury in reverse has to do with what we just talked about, open communication. Get a weight off your chest, speak up with love, and be heard. It is okay to sort of state your opinion and then let the air be cleared. The fact that Mercury is reversed is saying that it's probably not going to go as expected the first time. Practice it, and if it does misfire, just move on. That's the most important thing. Move on. Don't hold on to it. It was a moment in time. It's not everything, right? Look at the batting average for you and this other person, or you and this vendor, or whoever it is in your life, and just think, okay, this isn't worth throwing that away for, right? Other messages around wealth. You're actually probably overdue for recognition. So for many of you, if you are trying to get to the next level, this card shows me it's already there. So when you step to the negotiation table for manifesting something, you should have all the data and you should feel within like you're absolutely ready. You can see it all, how it's going to be. If you do, the other person's going to have a harder time knocking down that foundation. She is as steady as a tree or a rock in this, and she's not going to let anyone kind of like bulldoze through that. Okay, so that's so important for negotiation. It's so important for being able to have an important conversation, right? Let me see if there's anything else. If you're not happy, it's time to move on in anything really, but especially with work. So if you've just had it, if this last couple of weeks is the straw that breaks the back here, the camel's back, then this is saying, you know, I'm not saying quit tomorrow. I'm saying put into action how you're going to move on or how you're going to advocate for a change in your life. Make that first step, which is usually what we would see with temperance. 1 foot in, 1 foot out, but you need to commit a little bit more. So keep moving, keep that movement going, and you're going to see some positive results as an effect of that. I do see that it looks like you've done the requisite work to get to the next level as well with both the Wheel of Fortune and the Three of Pentacles. So if not here, then somewhere else, right? I think so, for sure. Okay, looks good. Last thing here. Definitely, it's going to be important for you to be organized and to be a good leader. Lots of leadership energy coming through. So demonstrate it like long before you ever have a title or have the responsibility. Demonstrate that you're ready for it. All right, let's go ahead now. I'm looking at the time. I always want to be mindful to make sure we can get through it. Let's look at your love card. So the love card hits a little bit different with manifestation, but let's look at each one separately. So we have crown chakra upgrade, divine connection, holy experiences, miraculous energy. Expect that the best could happen. Expect that you could absolutely be completely surprised by what is coming through. So, you know, we just saw that crazy relationship energy that actually came through in your wealth card. So if you have a misfire with the Mother Mary card and the Mercury card, so if you argue with somebody, what we see here is the ability to move beyond the argument and really elevate it to something better. Also, if you're bored, it's because you can do so much more. Crown chakra upgrade, divine connection, holy experiences, miraculous energy. Choose to do something that you're really feeling excited about. That's going to be super important for you. We got a second one here, which is solar plexus or solar light upgrade. It says inner fire and willpower. So these are connecting pretty nicely here. So knowing who you are and then really following through on that, I think that's going to be so important. Okay. How does this relate to relationships? Well, I think people are going to be more interested in what you have to say. And if you can pull it from this sort of deep power center, then you infuse the words with more passion. When I first got out of my corporate job, I was doing videos and I was doing readings, but again, I used to talk really slow. The readings were 10 minutes. And I was quiet and not as kind of confident and certain as what I'm doing right now. That came with time and practice. So I would say for you, keep practicing, open the channel up a little bit more, but it's not just about what you're receiving, it's how you put it out into the world. I had a good yoga teacher once that really talked about the importance of taking that solar plexus and pushing it, because there's a difference between talking like this and there's a difference between talking like this. And there's a difference between different no's. Like if someone asks you, do you want to do this? And if you say, no, that's kind of iffy. If you say no, a little bit firmer. And if you just say no, full stop, no. They're different tones, different reactions. So how are you communicating and how are you using the belly, the solar plexus, the diaphragm? Singers know how to do this really well too. Pull it up from your power centers. And then you're really going to light up what you're saying. Okay, so that's going to be important in relationships because you're going to find your power. All right, we're going to look at these 3 ways. Those of you in a relationship, looking for a relationship, or not focusing on relationships. It's going to be broader here because this is a focus on manifestation. So for some of you, you might be trying to look at a different type of relationship. So you can attach this to a work, love, friend, or familial sort of thing. Okay. So focusing first on those of you that are in a relationship and want to know the dynamics. Well, what I'm looking at smack dab in the center are these 2 cards. We have the King and the Knight of Swords. And so there's a little bit of a gap between the way that the 2 of you are speaking and communicating. It feels like one person may talk over the other person. it feels like one person may interrupt the other person. So in core relationships right now, it's your turn to be recognized and to be accepted. And also it's a reminder to recognize and appreciate the people around you. That Three of Pentacles energy cuts both ways. Thank you for doing this. I recognize that it's not always easy. Having someone say something similar to you, it's good to have that. It feels like many of you have worked really hard at what you've created in this relationship. So finding that balance and not necessarily choosing to put one another in the crosshairs is going to be important. If you're unhappy, talk about why you're unhappy. The Moon card is actually the key to avoiding the Three of Swords. If you talk about your hopes and fears, anything is possible. If someone storms out, they'll probably come back. Give them their space. So for someone who just hangs up the phone, walks away, doesn't answer a text or email for a while, they need space. Give them the space that they need. You probably need the space too. The Eight of Cups is a door that's cracked open, not a door that's slammed shut. Okay. Ultimately, healing is necessary, better communication is necessary, and recognition is necessary for existing relationships. If you're looking for love right now, you may be attracting a mentor, a teacher, or maybe someone to train, because again, we're looking at this little gap in experience. The cool thing is it does feel like both of you will get a lot out of that. However, it is a teaching and learning relationship. You're pulling in a teacher rather than a partner if you are looking for love. So focus again on what we were talking about earlier, like what the lesson is, so that you can kind of get past teacher and student. You want to be more partner. Same way you don't want to like a parental energy in your love life. You don't want someone mothering you. You don't want someone bossing you around. So move past that. Work a little bit more on inner control sort of issues, as we saw with these two cards. And I think that's going to help you avoid that. New relationships have the capacity to stick around for a bit. So I like that. This is the only thing that I could say with some of this is there could be an on and off energy. If there is someone that's sort of like casually kind of interested and committed, but they're not really full on. It's not quite Three of Cups and it's not quite Eight of Cups. Where I don't know, I'm getting something in the middle here. So someone may just be a little bit shy or not ready to kind of go the full distance. So this is where you want to avoid an argument, but you do want to sort of state what your intention or desire is. Okay. If you're single and happy, the good news for you is I feel like this is a good time to focus on yourself, and we're not seeing a lot of other people coming in. So what I was talking about earlier is creating more attention and more consistency when it comes to business and growth. Personal growth is off the charts for everybody right now. You're going to see an absolute return on what you're doing. So I like that. And if you are lacking something, you can do it yourself. That's what we're seeing here. This is kind of like what, a loom or whatever. But you can kind of like create your own tapestry. You don't have to depend on someone else's. So remind yourself that this little solo period won't be forever. Enjoy it, work, kind of soak it up like a sponge here with the Three of Pentacles. If I were to go back to my younger self while I was in school, I would just really enjoy certain aspects of learning, because that's a kind of rare opportunity. Okay, let's look at your destiny card, and then I think we're just about finished. We'll do one big idea, which will answer the big question here. So we have fear. Okay, so this is the only thing that could hold you back. And I think it makes a lot of sense when we're looking at manifestation. So with respect to that, and I actually have a little bit of my main character in my book facing the face of fear. When we know what makes us most inspired, and also afraid, then we know exactly how to conduct ourselves, what to do in that face of fear. So learn more. To me, education is a key way to diffuse it. Talk more. Having the support and opinions and feedback of the people that we care about the most can also be a really effective way of conveying, and not just conveying, but transmuting the energy of fear into something that is manageable. Because fear can be positive, like butterflies, anxiety. We can kind of use that to be our best version of ourselves. Fear was a survival instinct when we were, back in the caves and cave women and cavemen, but we don't need it every day. We don't have to be in fight or flight mode all the time. Thank you so much for the feedback on the sound quality. I'll take a look at it on replay. So if it is clicking, I'll make sure that maybe I'll limit how much bandwidth I'm putting out there. So thank you on that. All right, so that is basically what we're looking at here for the overarching view. And let's go ahead now and pull one last card for the big idea. Big idea is kind of the answer to this question. So we have the Ace of Pentacles, and the Ace of Pentacles is reversed. So for many of you right now, it is about thinking to yourself, I am ready. I am ready to receive. Thank you, Andre, for letting me know. Sometimes, by the way, if you're having any sort of issues with your connection, just refresh it. So I have a bigger, I've like more bandwidth that I'm setting out, so it could be that. But back to the topic here. So Ace of Pentacles in reverse. Are you ready to receive what the universe is sending your way? If you are, good. If you're not, you're missing something here. Because it actually is. If we think of the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith, it's a hand saying, here it is. Do you want it? If you want it, then you're going to see something happen pretty quickly. Sometimes we are holding back our own manifestation because we think, am I worthy? Will people judge me? Will it be harder than I thought? All these sort of questions can pop up that can slow down the sort of wheel of fortune that wants to spin in the right direction. I think that that's going to be super important so that you don't do that. I want you to kind of focus more on really pushing forward, embracing, and not losing the momentum. Some of you are going to get an offer. Some of you will get an answer that you want to hear. The Ace of Pentacles is good. Now, the reversal of this tells me that there's something about it that you want to kind of like fine tune a little bit. So that's fine. Right at the center, we had the King of Swords reversed. So you get what you want, but maybe you want a little bit more. So see how far you can push it. There's a little bit of back and forth that's going to be a part of that, and that's key. Stand tall, stand strong, stay grounded. It is your turn to be recognized, but you must recognize from within. So the big idea right now is I'm seeing that you're set up for happiness and success, but you have to walk away from something that may be convenient, but not fulfilling. And it's your kind of like timeline on whatever you want with that, or choose more happiness, or choose to do something that makes the world a better place. There's something key about happiness, satisfaction, and fulfillment that play a really big part in this, okay? Thank you so much for everyone that gave me some feedback today. Brand new setup. I'm really happy with the clarity on the cards. I have to say, I've always been able to see it myself, but it's kind of cool when I can pull in a card and you can actually see the details. So I did a lot of research and I think I found a good setup for this. So this is my way of giving right back to you and making it a better experience for all of us. So to everyone that gave back today, thank you so much. You're helping me recoup, and I'll continue to upgrade stuff as I move along. From a lot of it's been behind the scenes, like my computer I upgraded, and then this, and then I got a lens for it as well. So and another tripod. So all of those things cost money, and I've been saving up. So thank you for all the super stickers and super chat. That's where I put it if you want to know. Okay, so let's move into the final part of this reading, which I think is the most important. There are two parts. The first is a very brief meditation. I'd love for you to stick around. It only takes 2 minutes. We're going to work on the full moon, so it's going to be a chance to let some garbage go, which is important. So stick around for that. And then after that, we'll pull a final card based on whatever question I haven't answered. So that's my way of saying thanks for you for sticking around. So scribble it down right now before we get into that so you don't forget it. You have a chance to go ahead and vote on the final, not on the final card, but on the instrument that I play. So which instrument would you like? And then we'll take a look at that. And before I do that, a couple of scheduling notes too. So we can do the crystal pyramid. We can also do the singing bowl. Okay, so while you're voting, a quick reminder of my upcoming schedule. I will be doing, let me just see here, I gotta go to my website. But I will be live 2 days this week. I'm gonna take off Christmas. I think that makes sense. But upcoming readings, I'm gonna be back later this week for, let's see, we're on the 19th. So I'll be looking tomorrow at Sagittarius, Capricorn on Thursday. I'm off on Christmas, but I'll be back next Sunday for the weekend Sunday collective, Aquarius and Pisces on Monday and Thursday. And then I'm gonna be live for New Year's. So I'd love for you to join me. We're going to do a look at the year ahead. All of the all of the January readings that I'm doing have a little sneak peek for the signs. So if you haven't checked out your January reading yet, take a look at that link, see if it's up. If not, set a reminder for when it's going to be live, and you'll be able to get something sign specific in that. And then we'll do something really special on December 31st, same time, same place in the morning. Okay. So let's go ahead now and meditate using the moon here. Looks like Crystal Pyramid won by a very small margin. So thank you so much. 2 minutes meditation, then we'll look at your final card. So take a moment now to relax. If you can sit back in your chair, if you can lay down, whatever you want to do, that's fine. Like Apollo in the background, just chilling out, whatever works. As you take a deep breath, I want you to sit up tall if you're sitting, or just kind of stretch a little on the ground if you're laying down. And then on the exhale, let everything go. Let your back muscles, your neck muscles, the jaw, the eye sockets, even the scalp itself, just sort of like settle, so that you're not feeling any tension, anything that's sort of holding on or anything like that. With your mouth, even disengage your jaw, loosen your tongue a little bit. Just allow everything to be absolutely relaxed and still. Imagine that you are laying in a hammock looking at the full moon above you. Listen, the night sky is beautifully clear. You might see Ursa Major and Minor in the distance, but the moon is above you. As the moon shines down incandescently, putting this beautiful silver light around you, you get a sense of nurturing and safety. The moon teaches us what we need to see. It's a mirror. It's not necessarily the source of light, but it does show us where the light is, what we need to sort of be working on, if the light is within us, etc. Any hopes or fears or frustrations are being revealed to you so that you can be stronger and you can move past them. Feeling the gravitational pull of the moon, imagine that your higher self, your energy body, could transport itself to the moon and see your life from a different perspective. You see the sort of small minutia of it all, but you also see your kind of role, your place in the tapestry, right? So I want you to imagine in this moment that by sheer thought and intention alone, you can let go. Whatever it is you don't want in your life anymore, dismiss it and say, I release your hold on me. I reclaim my freedom. By releasing you, I also free both of us. You're free and I'm free. Feel this weight that is just being lifted from your heart, from your shoulders, from your mind. And now feel the power, because you're on the moon itself, of the moon. It can literally pull at the ocean tides. So whatever it is in your life that you would like to see movement in, use the energy of the moon to be there for you. I'm going to play the singing crystal while we meditate, and then in a couple of minutes, we will take a look and see what your answer is to your final question. Okay? So just relax, keep breathing, and allow yourself to be supported by this sound bath. Feeling the power and strength of the moon infused in each and every part of your light body, I want you to take that power and Push it back into your body by traveling through a moonbeam. See one very clear point of light emanating from the highest point here of the moon to your physical body. And imagine that you're going to take with it the perspective, the power, the vision, also the peace and tranquility that you were experiencing there on that lunar atmosphere. Accept that energy, just like the Ace of Pentacles that we were looking at, and say, I'm ready now to plant a seed, to try something new. And that's ultimately what this is about as well, is deciding, am I ready to plant that new seed? I think you are now, because we've set up sort of like the powerful energy for you to do just that. Okay? Gently open your eyes. Let's seal your energy back into your body, rubbing your hands together, putting your left hand on your heart, your right hand on top of that. One last breath. Let it go. Welcome back. All right, now's the fun part where we get a chance to look at your final question. All right, so if you just joined, you get one last question here. If you've been waiting, this is my way of saying thank you. So yes, I am aware of the audio. I will work on that later. So hopefully you can still hear me, and I'll probably just change from 60 frames per second to 30. It'll probably be fine. So thank you for letting me know. Let's focus on the final question, please. Okay, so we have the Nine of Wands. Do not give up. Keep pushing. Keep pressing forward. All right. With the Nine of Wands, it's a yes, but there's often this sort of feeling of, can I do this? Will I be able to? Okay. And you will be able to. You have to keep pushing that. And again, I will listen to this later. I see a lot of us talking about the sound. So let's focus on the cards here for a second. With the Nine of Wands, one thing that's really interesting on this card is it says respect. And so I want you to respect the work that you've done, maybe the work that others have done to get things done, and trust that it's all going to kind of fall into place. You are going to see it through to the final finish line here. Nine of Wands can show sometimes fatigue that sets in a sort of mental capacity where you're feeling sort of like exhaustion, maybe a headache. If you are experiencing anything that's chronic, like migraines or dizziness, or what's the other thing, vertigo, obviously go to a doctor. But if it's just this feeling of, can I do this? Why is this so much stress? Then it might just be an issue with stress management. But overall, the Nine of Wands is saying you've worked hard for this moment. You've worked hard for this recognition. Please see it through to completion. Okay. So it is a yes. This is a yes, but there's a little bit of a push. You are the one that's going to push it to the finish line. Okay. So before I go into the final thank yous, just a reminder, I only say this a couple of times, but if you could hit the like button, we're at just about half. I'd love to see a couple more. You can only do it once, so don't hit it twice or you unlike. But one like would be appreciated. And if you've never subscribed, YouTube shows me that around 70% of the people that watch haven't subscribed. Please consider subscribing so I can grow the channel. I have some new projects that I want to launch in the new year, and so things like that help a lot. Thank you so much for these really great contributions. I will say thank you independently to all of you, but I do see it. As well, if you look at the pinned comment, you can join me on social media. A reminder that I no longer offer private readings, so if anyone offers you one, that is not real. If you booked one prior to December, that is real, but I'm no longer offering that so I can focus on other things. So social media has a lot of imposters, so I just don't do that anymore. I'm here and I do more of these, so just show up here and we can connect live. If you want to show thanks on replay, you can click the thank you button or thanks button right by share. And finally, I see a lot of great contributions. So I'm going to say thank you for that right now. Someone mentioned my book. It just turned a year old, like October 31st. So if you'd like to check it out, it's a lot like Dune or Lord of the Rings. That's the cover back there. Feel free to check it out. There's information on my website. All right, give me a moment here. And I just want to say thanks to those of you that were able to give back a little bit. I'll start with memberships, and then I'll move along to super stickers. Again, a reminder that I will be live this week. I'm off on Christmas, and you can see the schedule that I posted a couple of minutes ago if you'd like to join. All right, so to the new members, let me just welcome some people back and welcome some new folks. So looks like we got Touche Germain 336 rejoining. Good to see you again. Thanks for coming back to membership. I appreciate that. Kimberly Coffee, welcome, brand new. Samantha K, welcome. Good to see you, brand new as well. Holistic Spiritual Healing, thank you, also welcome. Dolores Lopez, and then also, let's see, Fumalaya Jones became a star channel member, so thank you for giving that a little bit extra. Let's see, Lil Suzette, Cutie, and I think that's everybody from the last day. So thank you to all of you that rejoined. You again help make all of this possible. And now to the super stickers and super chats. I'll try to move through it in a decent pace because I saw we had a lot of great contributions today. But I'd like to begin with Crystal. Thank you for starting things off today. AB, Georgianne, I appreciate the 20. Isabel, Twin Readings. Tina Cuevas, thank you so much for the 50 and for consistently supporting me. I appreciate that. Cut and Paste, Michelle Buckoff, thank you for the 20. Love, I'm just going to say Love G, thank you very much. Farin, thank you. Let's see, Heather, Jessie Lou, Cass, Brynhilder, I'm sorry, Yvonne, JC, Charlene Fox, big thanks for the 50, I appreciate that. Elisa, Diane Spencer, Krista D, I'm just going to say thank you very much. Justice Astro Tarot, Keo, thank you for the 20. Charlene, thank you for the 50. Lorna, Patrice, good to have you back. Thank you so much. Bogey, Wendy, 62 and Sunny, Sita Marley, Brand Art Yoga. Let's see, You're Following D, Hope K, Tanya S, Regina, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Linda, Kathy, AB again, thank you. Let's see, Sumasil, Adid, I think. Excuse me, Robin Redmond, Jeannie Hart. Big thanks to Lisa. I appreciate that, 88. Very, very kind of you. Winine and Michelle. I think I caught everybody. If I missed anything, I will see it later when I take a look at all of this. So I appreciate what you've been able to give back today. Sheila, oh my goodness, I just saw that. Big thank you for that as well. Thanks for all of the patience as I work out the technical stuff. Last night I was hopping on for an impromptu and the camera was going in and out. So I figured that out. If there is audio issues, I should be able to fix that by the next time we go live. It's just tweaking new equipment. There's a reason I haven't changed it for like, 7 years, but I finally thought I just want to be able to, for you to see me a little bit more and for this to be a better experience. So good investment. All right, everyone, have a great day. Thank you so much. Wishing you all the best. I hope to see everybody that reading is upcoming. If you want to join me again, I think I have, what did I say, Sagittarius coming up and all of that. So please join me this week and again for the New Year's on December 31st. Until then, be kind to yourself, be kind to others. Remember, it is your divine right to be happy and to experience some joy. So Lord Ganesha is reminding you to do just that. All right. Thanks so much. Special thanks to Dakota and Maria as well for sticking around and giving their support in chat. You guys are amazing. See you soon. Bye-bye.